Alrighty, so we have some interesting information, and of course, this is a beta app leak, so be 100%, cautious with this stuff. It could be absolutely things that don't ever get added to the game. It's all super, I guess, experimental stuff that they've just kind of been messing with in the beta app, but the beta app itself doesn't mean that it's coming to the game ever. So take all of this information, of course, with a grain of salt, but it's very interesting, is all I'm going to say, because, I mean, obviously none of this is official. This is the stuff that they're kind of messing with, but there's collab stuff in this, there's other stuff, so here we go. It says, apparently Netmarble will add more books, and that means secondary stories, because of the story of 7DS coming to an end at the end of the year. With books, I mean content similar to the 7DS movie, because Netmarble will release new characters according to the story. For now, there are 4 books and 2 new characters for each story. So, what he's saying by this is, if you go to the actual story chapters and stuff like that in game, you can actually they're categorized by main stories, side stories, stuff like that, but they're put into little books or whatever. I'm assuming that's what he's talking about here. So he talks about the movie or whatever, which is a really good example. But either way, we have the first one, which is Vampires of Edinburgh, which is interesting because I don't really know anything about these, but the 2 characters would be Israth and Orlandi, which isn't... Orlandi sounds very familiar, but I'm not positive on who that is. Isn't that the little one-eyed creature or whatever from that hangs out with Arthur in the show? But I could be wrong. That might not be his name. Cursed by Light, which would be Dubs and Dahlia. I'm pretty sure both of these are the 2 main villains from the movie, if you've seen it, which is, I think Dahlia is the Giant King, one of the previous Giant Kings, and I want to say Dubs is the Fairy King, but I think that's actually reversed. I think Dahlia is the Fairy King. Dubs might be the Giant King or whatever, but those are kind of cool. I would be interested to see those. Grudge of Edinburgh Part 1, we would get a Tristan and a fairy Lancelot, which is kind of interesting. I like human Lancelot a bit more. I'm not a big fan of his fairy form. But in Grudge of Edinburgh Part 2, which would be the 4th story, would be Lancelot human, and Death Pierce, which could be really interesting. We only have 1 Death Pierce unit in the game, so he'd be able to share, UR gear if you've already made it for him or anything like that, so that's kind of cool. You do have a disaster story in the game, but they don't have any characters for it yet. Obviously, they've just talked about this in the Dev Notes video that I put out earlier today, of how they were going to be wanting to try to do actual story chapters and stuff like that for the disasters to sort of flesh out their characters a little bit more, which is pretty cool. Next up, we have game content, and I have no idea what this means, but it just says there are too many festival coins: Elizabeth, Bon, Zeldris, Arthur, Merlin. The only one that doesn't actually have a festival in the game at the moment is Arthur, so I'm not really sure. I don't understand why it says there are too many festival coins, but I don't know. I'm assuming what he's saying is these are the festival coins that they have in the beta app that don't match up with how many that we have in the regular game, maybe? So maybe there's a new festival: Elizabeth, Bond, Zeldris, Arthur, and Merlin coming at some point. Obviously, who knows when those would actually come out, but that could be pretty interesting, of course. And then if we scroll down here, this is where it gets spicy. So it says right here, many people expect new collaborations, so don't use this information as 100% trusted. Which is very important. He tries to reiterate this a lot with these. Make sure that you take this with a grain of salt. Collab number 1, it seems like it's going to be a new collab. I honestly, just over looking at this for the last couple of minutes, I have no idea what collab this could be. If you have any guesses, let me know. But the characters I'm assuming these are just the file names for the characters, which is why they don't have actual names on them. But the collab characters would be Captain, Little, Noble, and Elf. There's literally no telling from that, because so many animes have nobles and elves and small characters and captains. Maybe, I don't know, captain could mean pirate maybe or whatever, but I literally have no idea. Captain in the military even, who knows? If you have any idea on that one, let me know. But we have Collab 2, which is an AOT rerun with a new Eren and a new Mikasa, which is very interesting because we already have 2 Erens in the game, which pretty much solidifies the fact I'll probably try to make an HP defense set at the very least for Eren sometime in the near future. Mainly one just for box CC, or potentially if the character ends up needing HP defense, like a support style unit or something. Kind of doubt it because it's Eren, but even then, if I just want to use him for CC in PvP, potentially I could do that. But with there being, if they add this one, there would be 3 Erens in the game. I think I would be comfortably able to make an HP defense set and an attack crit set for Eren, just because there's already 2 that can hold those in my box already, and then with a new one coming out, I could potentially just swap those straight over to the new one whenever it releases, so that's kind of cool. This would be the second Mikasa, so could potentially make an HP defense set and an attack crit set for her. And then the last one is where I'm really excited, but obviously, you never know. This could be just not real, or like they couldn't come to fruition or whatever. This is probably just maybe talks of a collab or something, but it says Collab 3 is Gum, Navigator, Samurai, and then we have question marks. I don't know what the deal with the question marks is, but obviously the only anime that even comes to mind with this is One Piece, because obviously Luffy he has the Gum Gum fruit. The Navigator is Nami in the crew, and then Samurai would assumingly be Zoro. I can only imagine that the last one would be probably Sanji. I don't know, maybe they don't have a name for that character, or whatever the deal with the actual files goes, but it would either probably be Sanji, or it would maybe be Usopp, I guess, because he comes earlier into the crew or whatever. But that one has me extremely excited because I'm a really big One Piece fan, so that would be super, super cool to see them in the game. They did say in the dev notes that the collab, that they have a collab planned for the first half of 2023, so I don't know, who knows, because this one's the Collab 3, this was probably the one that they have the least amount of info on, or just the least amount done, so it's very possible that this one either gets scrapped or whatever by the time they get to it, or it's just going to be really late, way down the road, not anytime soon, of course. So a lot can happen between now and then. They have to deal with licensing and stuff like that as well for collabs and stuff, so obviously take this stuff with a grain of salt. Even this one right here, because it's titled Collab 1, you would think that would be the closest to being done, but who knows, something could fall through. Literally anything could happen. The only one that I would say I'm pretty confident is the Collab 2, which is the AOT rerun, and it's just because we've already had a collab with AOT, and I could definitely see them do a rerun, so that way we can get holy relics for the characters we already have. So definitely take this stuff with a grain of salt. He says, for now, that's all I can say. The information is public, but remember, this is an unofficial information and all features may be changed. So obviously, that's it. I don't know. That's all he has, but those are pretty interesting points there. So I'm super excited. I think that stuff is really, really cool, just off of the small stuff that we've learned here, but like I said, might not even make it all the way to the game. So they've obviously got a lot of stuff that they're going to be working on with the story coming to an end and trying to move into the Four Knights of the Apocalypse stuff and everything. So I'm sure they have stuff planned for the year, and they probably got their plates pretty full. So we'll see how much of this stuff actually comes to fruition. But that's pretty much it for me. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on this stuff. Obviously, some of it's more exciting than others, but yeah, pretty cool in general. I always like seeing kind of I guess what they're kind of working on in the background. But who knows how much of this stuff is close to done, or they've just got it in the works or whatever, they just got it on paper. I would assume Disaster Story, because it has no characters, probably not anytime soon. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next one.